Today I want to show you a very popular Python GUI, Graphical User Interface, using PyQt6 library. This library is very popular because it is capable of creating a full-fledged web applications as well as small web message pop-ups. To start that, let's start with importing. After creating a root directory and creating virtual environment, in the server file, we start with importing from the installed PyQt6 library. From PyQt6 dot Q widget, Q widgets, import Q application, Q widgets, Q push button, Q push button, Q grid layout. I'm going to use grid layout, Q grid layout, Q label. I would need a label, and Q line, Q line edit. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Q widget. So I will need that much. Q application, Q push button, Q grid layout, Q label, Q line edit, and Q widget. And import sys. Okay, once we have these, let's start with class window from Q widget. Okay, def init self and super self. Now we're going to start. Once we have that, we're going to make layout. Layout equals Q grid layout, and then we're going to add that to the widget. Okay, self set layout. Now we're going to create the labels. Self dot label 1 equals Q label. Enter your username and add that to the widget. Layout that add widget on the first row and first column, and then similarly create self dot label 2 Q label, enter your password, and layout add to the widget. Once we have that, now we're going to create the input. Self dot input 1 Q line edit, which creates the input field. Layout that add widget, self input that input 2 layout. Okay, now once we have, we're going to create button equals Q push button login. Layout, we're going to add that to the widget. Add widget button at row 2, starting at position 1, spanning across 2 columns. button dot clicked dot connect self login. So once we have that, we're going to define the self login function, self username password that. Instead, we can do this as well. Let's do print. Okay, username that, input 1, print username 2. Okay, so we have this, and now we're going to start up here app. We're going to call app equals q application sys argv, show that window, because by default window is not visible, and then window that set window title. Here we're going to say, just say for example, my PyQt6 app, window that show, and then sys, we want to exit after executing the app. So that is all we have here. Now let's run it and see the pop-up window coming up. Okay, so python server.py. See, the pop-up window came. You can stretch it. Where did that go? Okay, so pop-up window. Let me just show you the pop-up window here. See here, this pop-up window. Again, we can stretch it, make it this. So once we fill this, it will show in the terminal. Say for example, pickle16 at gmail.com. Password, say just make home, make 25. Once we do that, you see that here down in the, that is appearing. So this is how we can create a Python GUI, which is one of the most popular Python GUIs, and you can see how useful it has been for creating the message boxes and for creating this. Not only that, we can create many pop-ups like that. We can create another up here with the program. So in Python, we have this one of the popular GUIs among many. PyQt is one of the most popular one. There is for mobile Kiwi, there is for tkinter, which has a rather limited scope, and there is PySimple, which is very easy to learn. This PyQt6 is a learning curve it has. You need to spend some time with it to learn, because it is vast and it can create amazing full-fledged web applications. And then we have WX Python and PySide. PySide is exactly like PyQt. So once you know PyQt, you should easily be able to work on PySide as well. So this being one of the popular Python GUIs, I wanted to present to you today that you can use it in many of your program message boards and all that, as well as in making a full-fledged web applications, which in the coming days I'll be showing you. I will make sure that you have a systematic understanding of this by running a series of PyQt GUIs, Because PyQt GUI is a web frame, you can integrate CSS, traditional CSS, as well as modern CSS, such as tailwind CSS, bootstrap, as well as you know those kind of CSS, which I will show in the coming videos. Thank you for listening in. Please make sure you subscribe my channel, and I will present you more Python programming in the coming days. Thank you. Please subscribe the channel for more Python programming. Thanks a lot.